like to call the June 8th school board meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The consent agenda.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Just a few things to highlight. First, some good news on the donation side. You're going to notice that we have continued having money come in for food lunches. So I did inquire about where we are. We ended the year at $18,000 deficit. However, our donations exceeded $28,000. So we are going to be a plus 10K heading into the fall. So just want to thank the community for all that, and you'll see some donations again tonight on the item. So I want to just thank the community for that. And then Mr. Ahaus has a few as well.
The first one there, the common school loan resolution. If you recall, we brought that, I believe, in March, asking to apply for, approval to apply for that, and we didn't find out until after May's board meeting that we did receive that. So the resolution is coming to you in the amount of $488,941. So now the resolution to approve accepting that, and then we are still waiting on the state. They were supposed to supply some information here in early June on how this is our first go at it. So when we get that information from them on how to set that up and through our accounts and through debt service and all of that to do that if approved to accept those dollars from the state through the Common School Fund.
And it's all going to be designated for technology, right?
Yes, that's the stipulation for applying for that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then the second one, the ECA audit. This has been common practice in the district as we've changed CFOs. ECAs tend to be one of the more risky locations for money to be changing hands, and you've all been to events where that's taking place. And so to have that audit and just go through our internal controls and make sure that as I'm stepping into the position, we do that again. So that is something we're paying for to do just for our good measure. Obviously, we have other audits that take place as well, but this is one we're choosing to do. So what we're bringing today is the approval to have that done. It does not appear, we've reached out on kind of a timeline on when that would take place. It looks like it would take place more towards the end of this calendar year. So it's not something that we're rushing into here, but we wanted to go ahead and get the approval and get that set up. Felt like that would be good as I transition into this position.
Does that make it harder, Steve, as you transition into a new school year, though, or not?
No.
Okay.
No. I think it's something that's probably good for me to go through, good for...
I mean the timeline of it.
Oh, the timeline?
Being so late.
No, I think it would probably be more towards December-ish, and that really won't be as bad. It would probably be worse if it was August. Or September. So, okay. To be honest, it'll probably be good timing.
Speaking from the last time, I think getting him through the budget year in October would be good. So if they do start in November, December, then he can make the appropriate corrections that we need in December, heading into the winter seasons for Mr. Doty and all of the other programs that collect money.
Okay.
It's also for, on the PAC side, and things like that, where we see a lot of people come through. It's just a matter of collecting that money. So I do think that timeline seems pretty reasonable, like when Tina took over. That's what we were doing as well. On the personnel report, just like to highlight that Andrea Korig retired. Last week was her last days with us. She had an opportunity came to her, and so she took that, and she did retire. At this time, Mrs. Scott and I are looking at options and opportunities, so we're not going to appoint anyone today for that. We're gonna make some internal shifts where she's gonna get some help, but we're not gonna fill that position back just yet, as we look forward to that. And you'll notice Angie Bosley's travel on there, just a continuation of our special education review and conversation. She was part of our retreat this past week, and that just paying for her expense to travel and for her fee. So those are the consent agenda items. Madam
Any
President.
other questions or comments about the consent agenda? Happy to entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor of approving the consent agenda, signal with aye.
Aye.
Superintendent reports. Mr. Doty, for an athletic update.
All right, thank you. I asked Josh Fuel, our middle school athletic director, to join me in just providing some highlights for our schools past year, and then just talk a little bit about what's coming up for the next school year, 26, 27. I'm going to allow Josh to go first. He'll let him talk about the middle school highlights.
Yeah, so clearly we had a pretty successful school year for middle school athletics. So I'm not sure how long the high school's been doing the All Sports Award, but for the middle school, we've been doing it since the 2020 season. And the girls won the All Sports Award in 2020, 2021. And that was the first and last time that we've won it for either the boys or girls. The girls won it again this school year. And the boys tied with Plainfield on their side. But for the combined All Sports Award, we got first in that. So that was super exciting to see. I knew we had a good shot at the beginning of the year of that. We just needed a few things to fall our way. And it came down to really the last event of the year, conference track meet. We needed what happened to happen. We got first in both boys and girls track and field. And Plainfield, we needed them to get no higher than fourth, and they got fourth. So that was great for us.
Thank
So
you
yes,
very
that
much.
that was huge. So super exciting to see. But overall, great year for all of our sports. Multiple conference champions, multiple county champions. A lot of broken records in swimming, track and field, cross country. So super proud of all our student athletes on the athletic side of things, but also just as great leaders and student athletes and just future community members. So it was super awesome to see.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Well done.
As you'll see here in the next few slides, he also has a couple of new things going at the middle school, and one of them in particular we're going to implement at the high school. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Just for the high school, on the all sports side, you look at the logos to your left, just a reminder, Bloomington North is coming in. This will be their first year in the conference this coming year, 26-27. Greenwood is out, although we will continue to play Greenwood, and I hope just about everything. We have contracts renewed with them in all sports, so we'll do the best we can to continue that relationship with Greenwood. Boys all sports, we finished runner-up again, and to those pesky Plainfield Quakers. So the girls were first, and then combined we were second. The point totals are very close. And it's just a really, when you look at, like Josh was saying, it comes down to if we'd have just finished, third and they finished fifth or vice versa, whatever things could have been a little different, so the point totals come down. And really, Whiteland is starting to gain some steam on the boys' side, but beyond that, it's really not close. It's us and Plainfield at the top of the Mid-State Conference, and it's been like that for many years, and I'm proud to say that. Next slide, if you could. Just a little bit about the IHSA tournament series. I know Josh obviously does not have that tournament series to go on for postseason play, but for the high school, you can see there our girls golf team were state finalists. We had two girls in the finishing top 10. They were podium finishers. Lexi Ray was runner-up. Addie Bright finished 8th. I think you recognized them in the board meeting. Cross country, Lynn Finnick was a state finalist. Girls volleyball won their 3rd straight sectional this year. Winter wrestling just had a banner season. They were the team state dual champions. Girls wrestling, they sent I think we had 6 for girls to go to the state finals and 5 for boys to go to the state finals. So just a fantastic season for the girls and boys wrestling. Swim and dive there again, perennial powerhouse on the south side of the state. Sent numerous kids to the state finals. This spring, we just wrapped up track and field this past weekend. We had our first ever female state champion in track and field. Maddie Judge was the discus champion. She threw 152 feet, a little over 152, 152.8, I think. So she's a sophomore, fantastic for her. And then Addie Martin, senior, on her way out, she gave it her all. She finished runner-up in the pole vault. Just narrowly missed 13 feet, but what a fantastic career she had. She was on the softball team as well, who won the sectional. So she's a tremendous athlete. We'll be moving on to IU, play softball. Boys volleyball won the sectional, and then boys golf just finished up today. They were advanced to the regional this Thursday. They finished runner-up in our sectional that we host. They shot a 3:05 and finished runner-up. So, and we expect them to do their normal things, and they will be state finalists as well for their second year in a row. So we're looking forward to it. Couple new things, and then we'll hopefully be brief here. If you recall, last year, the 2 new things were transfers. I didn't see a lot of change in the transfer portal, we'll call it. There's really no such thing as the portal, but sure, it feels that way. Then the athletic facilities, as you all are well aware, the new facilities up there are fantastic, so we thank you for those. But new in this coming year are what you would equate to NIL at the collegiate level, the name, image, and likeness. What the high school, the IHSAA, has approved is the equivalent to that would be personal branding activity. It's PBA. And it's so new, it just was approved in May. I don't have a lot of specifics for it. There's gonna be a lot of questions around it. I've outlined some things here for you. The one thing I can tell you is that it's not NIL. Although you can see by the, if you read the definition of a PBA, it uses name, image, and likeness. Where the differences come is in the how it's managed. And it's not managed by the schools. It has to be totally separate from the school or athletic department. Students can't wear their jerseys, team logos, can't be in their branding and that kind of thing. So a lot of new things coming on that front, and we'll share more information as I get it. Their IHSAA is putting together an FAQ, if you could go to the next slide. And then we'll put together some trainings for our parents, our coaches, obviously our students, you all as well, our administrators. When that FAQ is now live on the IHSAA, our .net site. So I'm going to put together kind of what we view, how I view the education to be done when we come back from moratorium week, and we'll start pushing that education out. It's going to be in preseason team meetings. I'll do it through Final Forums. We'll do it through our social media outlets, and then also we'll get it in a handbook revision. So really, the compliance with that is we have to remain disassociated with those PBA agreements. We can't really be the broker for those. And then there has to be a reporting within 48 hours of the student engaging in that agreement. That reporting is yet to be defined. The IHSAA will do that. I'm sure it will be some kind of electronic format, much like the transfers were. But more to come on that. So I guess stay tuned. Happy to answer any questions, but I'm not sure I have the answers. If you have questions, I will make sure I get those back to you. But
Billy, what happens if we don't know? Like if somebody decides they want to go shoot a video with somebody and
Sure.
they post it to YouTube or TikTok and we're not aware that it's even happened, and by chance they've got a Franklin jersey on, is there
Yeah, that question was posed to Mr. Neidig, the commissioner at the IHSA, and I think his response was, if it's clear that the school was not aware of it, then the consequence won't be dealt to the school, it'll be more on the student,
Good,
right?
okay,
And that's where the education piece comes in.
Right.
We're gonna really have to do our due diligence and get the word out
Right.
about what it can and can't be.
right.
Yeah.
Because influencer status is all based on, right, like views and things, and what little I know about TikTok, but I could see kids posting things and not realizing the outcome and not really being even money generated, but it could lead to something that is inadvertently an issue.
And I think the big thing what the IHSA doesn't want to have happen is that this becomes what we see at the collegiate level.
Right.
where It's the transfers are more frequent, recruitment, it takes the forefront there, and that's where they're holding strong on all of those current policies are in place for undue influence,
Yep.
for recruiting violations and those things. So we're gonna hold strong on those. So, and right now, when you look at it, kids could have already really been doing these
this,
things.
right.
I mean, they're basically just a job, right? And you could have had a job. So,
Yep.
so,
Okay.
but I'm sure there's ideas out there that I can't think, I'm sure people will get creative. And we may have some of those students. I mean, think back to Max Clark.
Right.
That could, he could have been somebody that would have taken advantage of that.
Yep.
So, all right. Next thing I want to share is I'll let Mr. Fuel come back up here and talk about the program coach evaluation.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to attend the Indiana Athletic Directors Conference in March. One of the vendors there that I ran into and went to one of his sessions was Kevin Brome. He's an athletic director in Michigan. He also runs this Grit Leadership platform, which is a survey platform that specializes in education-based athletics. Bill and I met with him virtually after this conference, and heard everything he had to say and everything they had to offer, and we were just got hooked up with it. We're super excited to incorporate this into both of our athletic departments at the high school and middle school. But essentially, it's just surveys that, like a 360 survey sent out to coaches, parents, and student athletes, just getting feedback on the coaches themselves and the individual athletic programs. I actually have sent mine out to middle school for the spring sports. I actually went ahead and did this past fall and winter sports as well. Not as good responses on those since it was months after the fact. The spring surveys gave some pretty good information, just a Likert scale with some open-ended questions. Uses AI tools to help you evaluate that data and give some. It actually will give you a end of season, like post-season agenda for your coaches meeting, which is really cool. It gives professional development resources, and just help professionally develop your coaches, help develop them better. In the world, Mr. Doty can attest to this. It's getting harder and harder to find qualified coaches. So when you get somebody who is willing to put in the time and effort to be a coach, helping them develop is going to be huge for our growth as athletic programs. So super excited to implement this. I think it's going to be great for just helping guide not just the coach development, but helping us guide decisions when those tough decisions do sometimes come. You can use some of this data to kind of help you out, make best decisions moving forward. But hoping to make this more of a professional development resource to get good impact on or good feedback on our coaches and how we're running our athletic programs as a whole.
Josh, how is this, or Bill, how is this different than the 360 that we do anyway with our coaches and our kids?
So the one thing that really struck me when I sat through this, and I have not used it yet, I'll be totally transparent, planning on implementing it survey out to students. We don't get a lot of feedback. Then I have, and Josh will do the same, we have another survey that we ask coaches. Those questions are different. This formats, it looks the same, and the questions may come differently, and they feel a little different, but they're getting the same data point.
Okay.
So they're drawing correlations on the same feedback point from coach and what the players are saying, right? And so now we can, maybe there's a gap. Maybe this program scored high from the player and the coach, but this coach thinks we're doing something really well, and the players think they're not. They think it's down here. So now that's a talking point. Now we can share that data, that correlation.
Okay.
To me, that's what really struck out. And then I know you worked with the spring. You really felt like the AI integration.
Yeah, and I think like an example question, like what Mr. Dede was just saying was, it could be, the question would go to all three parties, parent, student athlete, and the coach. An example question might be, you know, in a different variation of this, but my coach values high character traits, something like that. Or my coach shows up to practice prepared every day. So the athlete would be answering the question from their perspective, parent would be answering the question from their perspective, and the coach is actually asking the question, do they feel like the student athlete feels that they do that? So that shares that data point from all three parties. And then that AI integration helps evaluate that data and gives professional development resources on how, you know, it might give book suggestions, podcast suggestions on how they can develop certain coaching traits or character traits in this coach.
And the gentleman that created this is an athletic director in Michigan. So really, it's well done. So, and I'm on board.
Yeah, we're super excited to put it in place.
Have to answer any questions? Again, thank you for supporting Franklin Athletics, and we look forward to seeing you in the 6-7 school year.
One of the other things that Bill and I have been talking about is parents' code of conduct. We have had a couple different experiences this year where some of our parents
Robin.
have said some things and or maybe acted in a way. On final forms, there's a place where parents are supposed to read and sign off that they understand our parent code of conduct. I'll shout out to Bill and I at our last monthly meeting, looked at the golf, what they're doing, and they have a very nice packet put together for their parents, and we're looking at maybe emulating, I think we're gonna emulate that for all, so that when Bill does get noticed, we can remind people that, listen, this is what you signed up for, and how you treat officials, how you treat other opponents, how you treat our coaches in spaces like that. We understand it's emotional when your kids are playing and things are not going like you think they should go, but there's also a way to go about doing that. And so Bill and I have talked about some strategies to use, so that's also going to come in the fall as well. Anything, I know you had to deal with a couple others.
And I totally get it. I've been there. You know,
Yep.
Second to coaches, I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like coaches, good officials are getting hard to find too, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So.
yeah.
I had a question. Is there a cost associated with the grit leadership stuff at all? Okay.
There is. I do not recall
Okay.
the exact amount. I want to say in the ballpark of 2,000 for all K through 12 to have
Okay.
it.
And we spent $300 just to get going.
Okay.
And that allowed us to, he was able to use the spring, and then we'll get invoiced for this upcoming year. So, since it was so late in the season, we were able to get going.
I will say, having filled it out, I do appreciate that there are it's some more direct pointed questions. It's not just what did you like about your coach? What did you not? You know what I mean? It made you think a little bit about your response, which I appreciate, and I can see how. I mean, obviously, I can't imagine what it's like in your daily lives trying trying to comprehend the emotional responses you get from parents in the moment, and then trying to think back when you're trying to evaluate a coach on, did I only hear those people because they were speaking the loudest? Because typically I think it's human nature to be more vocal when you're upset, right? So yeah, I think it's a great tool. I'm excited to see what comes of it, and I think it's even better that that it helps us drive development. I think that's the key part of the whole thing, is not only if we do realize we may have a problem or an opportunity to get better, I won't even call it a problem, it's just an opportunity, then at least it helps us provide those resources to those coaches to say, hey, this doesn't mean you're gone, but we really need you to work on this, and here's some opportunity to do that. I think that's a great, relatively inexpensive opportunity for you guys to make things better as a whole and not tax your time even more.
Right, I think that's the biggest thing, is obviously Mr. Doty and I could create a Google form and do this. But, I mean, we're both very busy
Yeah.
individuals, and, you know, creating it, going through all the data, just that's hours and hours of work where we could be using that elsewhere. So this kind of gives us the opportunity to do the same thing in a more efficient manner, and probably a much better manner, honestly. So super excited to use it.
Yep.
Thank you.
There's an athletic golf outing on Saturday. If you haven't signed up yet, feel free to do that. It's at the Legends.
1
Starts-
PM shotgun.
I say,
Show up.
registration starts at 11, right?
Yeah, just show up,
Yeah,
put you in a golf cart.
Yep.
Go
Great.
have some fun.
See how good of a report I gave on athletics?
Good job.
You're welcome. Good job, guys. Thank you for
Well
everything.
done. Thank you.
Okay, action items. Dr. C.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, the very first one is the recommendation to purchase the property located on 355 North Morton Street. And for everyone, that is just south, adjacent to us. It's John Ald's property and the former Bud and Bloom. Over the past several months, and actually several years, Mr. Ald's been trying to sell the property. And at different times, it's been potentially to be sold, and then some issues come up. And one of the biggest issues, and why I believe that one of the reasons why I'm recommending we purchase this property, is there an easement that runs from the back of the insurance building all the way down to Emma, from a previous experience when the middle school was residential. And if we do get a neighbor in there that invokes that, that would be a very difficult thing for us, because it goes right through our parking lot.
Right.
In addition, it really ties in well with us and everything. So at this time, I would like to see us move forward with the purchasing of that property. Future use could include Franklin Community Schools Police Department, virtual school location and place for our virtual schools, that continues to grow. And then IT right now is located all over the district. We would centralize that and also bring central office down to this space down here and let IT be up on the north end of the campus. So those are a couple of ideas. The most pressing use, though, if the board does recommend to move forward and we purchase the property, we will be taking the buildings down.
Both of them?
Both of them down. And we're talking to Mr. Betts, he's working on getting us a cost, what that would be to demolish both of those buildings. But we do not have a plan to resurrect anything on that at this present time. But we don't want to have vacant buildings that we own sit. And so at this time, I'd recommend that we do purchase the property for $1.3 million. We do have that money in rainy day with regard to purchase of property that's set aside for that. So Mr. Ahouse is aware of that. And then Mr. Young is going to walk us through the legal matters on how we're going to do this. So Mr. Young.
Thank you. Well, as directed by the board a couple months ago, we commenced negotiating with the landowner to purchase the property. We proceeded to file proceedings to acquire it. We continue to negotiate, and we're now at a point where the property owner has indicated that he will accept the sum of $1.3 million net and provide us with a general warranty deed conveying the real estate to Franklin Community School Corporation, which also brings with it the easement, which, as Dr. Clendending pointed out, would be a real thorn in our side if the property were developed under private ownership and the easement were used. And quite honestly, if that were to occur, I imagine the school corporation would be in a position where they'd be forced to condemn the easement, which would cost a fair amount of money and really get the school corporation nothing but an unobstructed parking lot. So I think this expenditure would be very wise. So as I said, the property owner has agreed to accept the sum of $1.3 million. The conditions are really minimal. We would obviously require clear title. I've already commissioned a title search. The results are back. There are no clouds against the title except the existence of that recorded easement. So it's owned free and clear. There's no mortgages, no liens, no assessments, nothing that would undermine the quality of the title. So the offer would be contingent upon clear title and a mutually agreed to closing date. It is my recommendation that the corporation not acquire the property until such time as all tenants are removed. I can think of no legal reason why the school would want to be the landlord of those facilities, especially for the relatively short time that they're likely to be in existence. So we will have to coordinate with the landowner in terms of closing date and possession date. And as I indicated, those two dates would concur, and the condition there would be that the property is vacant at the time of closing, which would also be the date of possession. Now, it may be that in order to accommodate some of the needs of the owner, it might be necessary that the owner remain in possession for a relatively short period of time after closing. We don't know that. We haven't yet reached an agreement on the price, so we really haven't gotten down to work out those other details. But in any event, we would hope that the properties would be vacated, if not at the date of closing, very, very shortly thereafter. Again, there are insurance issues. There's just a lot of things that come with being a commercial landlord that I don't really believe the public school corporation has any business getting involved in. So I would concur with Dr. Clendending's recommendation. This, I think, is a valuable asset to the school corporation. It's much needed. Clears out an in-holding in the larger campus. And again, I concur with Dr. Clendending's recommendation. So what we are looking for is the board's authority allowing me to make the offer of $1.3 million to purchase the real estate. Questions?
Will you vacate the easement after we acquire title?
I thought about that. I don't see any reason to go to that expense or trouble. And
Okay.
as you know, that there's the theory of merger of title. Number one,
Right.
if the dominant estate and the servient estate become one, the easement as a matter of law is extinguished. Plus, even if that doesn't occur, as long as the school corporation owns the property, there's no possibility that any other entity could attempt
Sure.
to utilize the easement. So I've thought about that. I've kicked it back and forth. There's an expense connected with it, and I really, under the facts that I just shared with you, I have trouble justifying that expense. I mean, it'd be easy. It'd be nice to bill you the hours, but I just don't see it as necessary.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for us. I think it's the right thing to do, and it definitely finishes off our campus, and it's hard to control who your neighbors are unless, and I would prefer us just to be our own neighbor in that spot, especially with the continued development and opportunity up and down 31. It makes me feel a lot better about what we've got here if we own the whole.
Yeah, let me add one more thing. I can't remember if Dr. Clendending mentioned it, but it is true. The money that's going to be utilized to purchase the property, if approved by the board, can only be utilized by the school corporation for the purchase of real estate. It is dedicated to that and that alone. So that, to me, it's a those restricted funds.
Right.
Well, it certainly makes sense. I just kind of add on to what Brett was saying of, and echoing what you did about if we put central office there and virtual school and the police department, it certainly makes those more accessible for our parents and other members of the public than having to kind of navigate your way in front of the middle school in Northwood, which at different times of the day can be,
Impossible.
yes, impossible.
Yes.
So,
I did speak to Mr. Alda, and there probably will be a little bit of time, depending on the closing date, where he needs to either rent it back from us or whatever to get to his new spot. And I told him that after this would commence, then we would get together and talk about that. But that's the only thing. But I agree with Roger. We did have a conversation. We do not want to be landlords for a long period of time in that building.
Right. So would we just delay possession?
Yes.
Add a fee to him instead of?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, at that point in time, Mr. Betts would help us get everything moving forward to demolish the building.
and the buildings are in not great condition.
That
There
is correct.
are roof issues, leaks,
right.
and so forth.
And one thing we do know, we did confirm there is some asbestos. I believe it's on the second floor is what John told us. So Benji's aware of that, and we would, when we put in the RFP to demolish, we'll have to take care of that special mitigation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, another condition will be that school personnel will be allowed to enter the premises at all reasonable times to conduct investigations, testing, and so forth. So we want to get that moving.
Yeah.
Let's say the closing date, possession date is 3 months away. I think it'd be a good idea to hit the ground running in terms of the next step once we do acquire possession of it. So that will be another condition. I'm sure that won't be a problem.
Yep.
So at this time, I
Well,
would,
yeah.
I would just further
I would make a
recommend-
motion to purchase the property at the $1.3 million figure,
I'll second.
No conditions.
no conditions.
Those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you both, everybody.
Next, we'll hear from Shelby Murphy on school calendars, virtual school.
Good evening. I assume, Mr. Jones, you've had time to count all the days in our calendar.
Yes.
They have not changed since our last meeting, but, so yeah, we're here to move on both our elementary and our secondary school calendars, since they differ from the district. Do you guys have any questions about the calendars?
No.
All right, we're very excited about our calendars and the new building.
Yeah, there you go. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the virtual school calendar. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
So moved. Curriculum adoption, Dr. Warland.
Thank you, Madam President. There have been no changes since the last meeting. As a quick reminder, the first two items are connected to our school counseling program, K through 6. Our biology program at the high school is the next item. We have not had a resource for a number of years. English workshop, again, as a reminder, that is a course for students that may frankly not like English or might have been struggling through their prior K through 8 years and just need some extra support and time. English 9 is English 9. And then the AP language and composition, that's a required resource for AP. And then English 12, that's English 12. But there are no changes since the prior meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt the curriculum adoption, the curriculum for those things listed. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
So moved. Dr. Warland, you want to talk about early childhood anymore?
Yes, as Brooke, Mrs. Jernigan, presented at the last meeting, if you'll remember, about the opportunity for us to introduce a course that also receives dual credit through Ivy Tech and in partnership with Cub Academy and Katie's New Preschool Adventure. So there are win-wins. That phrase was used earlier all over, I think, for this particular course. So we're just asking to add it to the high school catalog, but no changes.
Katie's New Preschool Adventure sounds like a reality TV show.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the Principles of Early Childhood Education course. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Elementary Handbook, Dr. Hayden.
Filling in for Dr. Hyden will be Dr. Worland.
Yes.
Okay.
There have been minimal changes since the last meeting. One of the things that we did do is we moved Title IX back to the beginning of the handbook. So when you look at the handbook, it is in its correct place. That will follow for the handbooks that we will discuss here in a moment. There was also one typo. I think it was an S to a T that Mr. Hayden found and fixed. Other than that, there have been no updates to what he presented at the May meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the elementary handbook. All those in favor signify with aye, please.
Aye.
So moved. Policies and guidelines and forms, Dr. Clendenning.
Thank you. There have been no changes to from the first reading of our policies, guidelines, and forms, and I would ask that you approve all of them as stated.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor of adopting the policies, guidelines, and forms signify with aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to discussion. Handbooks.
Yes, so you will see a number of our handbooks there before us. CBIS is the first one listed. You will see the handbook and then see the changes. In conversation with Mrs. Moran, most of her changes, if not all of them, are primarily cosmetic.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that we added this year to all the handbooks. There was a paragraph added from Mrs. Scott with regards to our special ed program. Of course, the cell phone updates are included, and in some, I think in the middle school, you'll see some updates to the new attendance, for the new attendance guidelines. But I'm happy to answer any questions or take feedback back to Mrs. Moran.
Any questions?
The middle school handbook is there as well. You see the handbook and you also see the document tracking those changes. Similar to CBIS, most of it is cosmetic. Again, we've added the required pieces, the requested pieces. I don't think there's anything really strange or in that one either, but I'm happy to answer questions or take feedback back to Mrs. Holman.
Everybody good?
Are there any questions?
High school?
Mr. Wagner is here to talk about the high school, to entertain questions.
Thank you. I'm wondering how the middle school and CBS got away with having to come here tonight to present their handbook and why I had to be here. Just joking. I'm happy to be here.
It's called
always a
rookie.
good opportunity for me to get out and have a good night. So very similar to the intermediate school and the middle school, a vast majority of the changes to the high school handbook are very cosmetic. The biggest difference is simply that our handbook just happens to be many, many, many more pages than their handbook, and that's kind of the reason why our changes are much more lengthy than maybe what they have submitted. So just a lot of things that are updating to what our current practices are to replace things that maybe have been outdated practices that just had never been changed along the way in the handbook. Removing a lot of outdated, redundant language. Part of what we did a really big deep dive into this handbook, trying to find ways to make it to where it's a document that's easier to read. Handbooks, just by their nature, sometimes can get very convoluted over time as you add and change and things. If you don't take the time to actually then try to kind of re-manipulate it to make it to where it all kind of still makes sense, it can kind of get to a place where it almost looks like Frankenstein. So we tried to un-Frankenstein our handbook a little bit this year, which is a very lengthy process. Some of the other things I will just highlight as well, some additions. We, as from the conversation that Dr. Clendenning had, I think with the board members recently, added a provision where we will revoke driving privileges for students that are having attendance issues. We had an issue earlier this year with a visitor that was found somewhere they weren't supposed to be in the building, so we just added a little blurb in there, just reminding that visitors need to stay in the locations that they've been permitted to be in our building. We added language for all the new graduation requirements, the new honor seals that will be going in place here. With the current, the incoming sophomores still won't really apply very much to our graduates for at least next year, but probably the year after that is when we may start to see that apply more, as maybe some students take advantage of the opportunity to use those new graduation requirements. Due to some issues we had this year with students using AI to make photos and videos of staff members that were very inappropriate, we added a provision there reminding students that that is not acceptable behavior. And then also we added just a notice reminder to students and parents that per board policy, the school does have the right, based off reasonable suspicion, to search a student's phone for any material that we've been made aware of that would be a violation of school rules. So it's just a reminder there of a policy that already exists that some of the students and parents were not aware of. So we just add that to our handbook as a reminder as it goes along with other student search provisions that we already have in the handbook as well. So happy to answer any questions, or between now and next school board meeting, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Was the photo the seniors all handed you AI generated, sir, or was that?
Unfortunately, no, Mr. Jones. That was a legitimate, real senior photo of myself from 2002. Yes, but that was a really good prank, if you would call it that. I really appreciate that, and graduation receiving those. It was just a fun little moment for me and the seniors.
It was.
That was very nice.
Good job. And great job with graduation.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It went great.
Yes. Other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Virtual school handbook.
Hello again. So much like what Mr. Wagner was saying, it's funny you use the word Frankenstein, because when I first got this handbook back in 2024, it was a copy and paste of a ton of the different school handbooks to make sure that we had all K-12 information, and as well as some virtual school language that we were trying to doctor into our own. So last year I did not make very many changes because we really didn't have a lot of good set policies, procedures, and consistencies. Now, a lot of what we had in the handbook rang true, so we did end up following most of these things, but they just need cleaned up to match our current practices. So like certain things like a probationary semester being appropriate, that's not something that we do. We're a public school, so we serve kids. So we just kind of cleaned up a little bit of that language, as well as some information and details from our partner platforms. Once we learned a little better how they work and about their systems, and as things have changed with them, we cleaned up a few things with that. But it's really easy to read with the strike-throughs, so. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you. Okay, moving along. Proposal to hire Tina for
Yes.
consulting services.
Thank you, Madam President. Last time when we transitioned CFOs, we went ahead and hired Mr. Mercer back for a few hours from June 1st to December 31st with the budgeting and we have an upcoming audit that Mr. Ahaus will be responsible for, but it's actually looking back over the last 2 years of Tina's work. So I would like to recommend that we hire Ms. Jo back to be a consultant for Mr. Ahaus for no more than 20 hours per month at her daily rate. So if you look at that, that would be about 5 hours a week where she could come and provide consulting activities or look over his data sets and some of those things. And that would expire on December 31st of this year.
Do we know her daily rate, or will that be provided?
I can get it for you. Yeah. Actually, we can get it here real quickly. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get it for you. And this is discussion time, so I can definitely have it for July meeting. We'll get it back to
And she wants to do this?
you. She does want to do it, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did
Fair
confirm, I did
question.
ask her before, yes.
Is she aware?
You know, she's not here to say no. Although Mr. Betts may be texting her right now and saying, hey, congrats. All right, but daily.
Okay. Any other questions
71
about
an hour.
hiring Tina some more? Nope. Earn to Learn, Katie Smith.
71 an hour, yeah.
So, Work and Learn is a platform that the district already, Mr. Tungate already uses for our high school, some of our high school programming for paid internships. So Work and Learn Indiana is in partnership with Earn Indiana. So you submit an application to Work and Learn Indiana as an employer for paid internships. So I am proposing and bringing this to you because Franklin Community Schools is not on this platform now as being one of the paid employers. We already use it. Mr. Tungate already uses this with a few other apprenticeships and internships, but as a Franklin Community School, as the employer, we would submit on Work and Learn Indiana, and then Earn Indiana is the platform that pays out up to 50% of the wages. So it is another win-win, working with Mr. Jenkins and Mrs. Jerrigan through that whole CDA process to get hours. They could have a paid internship. They do not call this a job. You gotta be very careful with that because the students are there to learn. So then it's an easier transition if they do continue their college and career in that educational platform. So I've been working with Dr. C, talking to him about this. I've learned from colleagues about doing this in this partnership and working with Work and Learn right now, how that looks for us. Talked to Carissa Bratcher with our HR, pulled our job description and made it work to apply for this. Then weekly, the high school, what would be different than a Franklin employee compared to this paid internship is that that student would be responsible for submitting on Earn Indiana once a week. I would be required for entering their hours once a week, so then it'd be up to that reimbursement would be regularly then. You can wait up to 30 days and submit them. They say that's not a good idea, just for all accounting purposes. So we do already, Mr. Tungate works with a variety of people in our community through this program. It would just be Franklin Schools would be one of these people through Earn Indiana, through state funding to have that reimbursement for a paid internship. Again, I say this is a win-win because Mr. Jenkins and Ms. Jerrigan and I have been talking and going through the students that would be, this would be a good opportunity for them. Their schedule works, they've got the coursework they need, they're on that career and college pathway because it's under the bucket of education on Work and Learn Indiana. So they would submit the students that would qualify for this paid internship opportunity. Then we, as a committee, interview committee, with some of my teachers, would then interview these high school students. We can take up to 2, if we'd have 2 that would be good fits. And then we have to submit a start date and an end date. It can only be for a year. It has to be no less than 8 weeks, no more than a year. You can have anywhere between no less than 10 hours a week and no more than 20 during the school year. So there are many parameters that I would have to, keep on that wouldn't be necessarily under the HR Mrs. Bratcher's belt because it's just a little bit different, but I would be the one responsible for that. I'd list myself as the responsible person for that. The classroom teacher would be one of those mentors along with myself, just to make our community better and get those students in, and then the return, hopefully they would then stay with us as a Franklin School employee without that paid internship. So it works because we're open till 5:30, so they can get those hours during the week pretty easily. If we ended when school ended, it wouldn't work.
I've talked to a couple community schools, adjacent counties, and they eventually work to, with the counselors to double block students. So they have big, as the program continues, you can get up to 20 hours. It's, again, win-win for our district and the students. So that's a little bit about Work and Learn Indiana. And then Earn Indiana is who then pays us back up to 50%. My rep at the state says it's usually never, she's never seen any less than 40% reimbursement and no more than 50 per hour per student. So, do you have any questions about, oh, I've just been talking and not clicking, but there's some details. Let's see. These are just the steps that I have to go through on the back end. Been talking with Dr. Clendening on some pieces on the back end, but that has to get approved from Work and Learn Indiana before we can be reimbursed by Earn Indiana. So I think that's all, unless you have any questions about that. I think it's wonderful for our students and for our community. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it, but
Any questions?
Nope. Sounds great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right, and then I'm tagging something on, and I'm gonna click so you can see it. This is a little time sensitive. Dr. Clendening and I were talking. I looked at the next time for the next board meeting was in July, and it's 2 weeks away from things needing to be printed and so forth. Want to talk a little bit about the process of a logo. So I took this handy dandy style guide from Mrs. Betts for Franklin Community Schools, and I wanted something very consistent. I wanted to use, if we could, the font, of course the color. Those Pantones are all the same as Franklin Community Schools. We're the starting point. It just makes sense. It makes it easy. So what I did was take a font, the font that's already in Franklin, and used that as one of the options. So this goes back a couple meetings with my team. Started with a ton of logo options using a few different fonts, I stuck with the Pantone, that blue Pantone. And then we narrowed it down again. We got down to 4. And then those were the final 2. They're the exact same font. One's just capital and one's not. And when I was talking to Mrs. Betts, it could be that we use one for one reason, maybe an envelope, and one for another. They're not any different font. One's just capital, lowercase. It's the same paw print. So I would like to bring both those logos as an option, interchangeable whenever, maybe apparel, or if we needed something for a different business reason. The other one's just fun. It's a vintage bear. On that style guide there, I met with Mrs. Betts and went through like what I needed on that, just so anyone could come and pick it up and know what Pantone's that bear is and all that stuff. So the only thing I debated on the fun bear logo for the cute kid t-shirts, because we're not gonna put that business one on a t-shirt. I couldn't decide if we would do established in the year that we started in the building, or when in 2015 Cub Academy lifted off the ground with 3 classrooms. I went with 2026 because it's just the building's opening and we're all together as a big preschool unit. So those are the logos I'd like to present for Franklin Cub Academy.
Cool. I vote for 2015.
You vote for, because you
yes,
were there.
yes.
And that is an easy fix.
But I don't know. I feel like it's when the dream started, and yeah, so.
It's an easy fix. So, if you don't have any questions, that's the only 2 things I have right now. If I can.
Okay, thank you.
Can we go ahead and vote on her
We
logos?
cannot
or-
because of public comment.
Oh.
So, yes.
We'll work on it.
Yep. We have a couple options coming up in the next couple weeks where we could add this to another agenda item
Right.
and get it in.
Okay.
Also, Madam President, Mrs. Betts just made me aware that on the action items, we had no public comments, just to make note of that
Okay.
as well. So thank you. Mrs. Smith, Nice job.
Well done. More policies, guidelines, and forms?
Yes, this one was actually tabled last time. It had to do with justifiable reduction of staff, and the reason we tabled it was because we were looking at the evaluation system. And if we were gonna go away from highly effective, effective, needs improvement, or ineffective. We chose not to go away with that for this next year, so we're just now bringing up the changes and recommendations that Dave, Brooke, and I looked at. And so at this time, we're just bringing it for first official reading to the board.
Okay. Any other board comments, administrative comments?
I just have a couple of administrative comments. One, we normally do a July retreat where we look at strategic planning and look ahead. Last year, we did it that last week of July, and that would be either the 28th or the 30th, which is Tuesday or Thursday. It gives us time from the fair and everything else. If you could just look at your calendars to let me know if that would work. And it is here locally that where we'd have that. It'd be, once again, it's a strategic plan looking ahead to where we're at. And then also just a reminder that potential of 23rd of this month, having another meeting at 6 o'clock for a board meeting. And I think we talked about that.
When was that?
That's the 23rd, Monday. Tuesday, it's Tuesday 23rd, thank you. Yep. Yep.
What?
So, and then those are all the admin comments that I have.
Yeah, I have a question, and maybe this isn't the best one, but since our chief sheriff is here, do we know how our guys are doing at the academy?
Sheriff Cox, do you have an update on how the guys are doing at the academy?
Doing well. Good. Good.
That's what we want to hear.
And their graduation is early August, is that correct?
They're in their 5th week and they're doing fine.
Okay,
Excellent. Thank you.
great.
Calendar of events.
Yeah,
Joint
just
meeting.
kind of looking ahead to the school year, we have the joint city council meeting on the 24th. Also, Becky has been attending the RDC meeting in Bargersville, and I did talk to Dax. We would like to offer an opportunity to have a joint council meeting with Bargersville as we're looking forward to their changes and as they move forward. So we'll be working on that for the fall as well. Cub Academy is going to have their official groundbreaking on August the 29th.
Ribbon cutting.
10 to 11:30, which is a Saturday. It gives Katie and her team a chance to get the school year going and then have the official open house and ribbon cutting. We have talked to the chamber and the mayor's office. They will be there as well, so that's going to be an exciting time for us. And then CBIS is turning 50 years old. And on September 18th, which is homecoming, I believe is what Mrs. Moran told me, they're going to have a pre-tailgate on their campus. If people want to see the facility or kind of walk through it and then have a chance to go to the football game that night would be great. So that's at CBIS.
Okay. Any other comments for the good of the cause? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.